We just, at the recording of this, the time we're recording this, you're not on social media anymore,
No.
but James Gunn just dropped a video announcing DC's upcoming slate, which he did as like a 4-minute monologue to camera. I don't know if you've been sort of following along with this whole James Gunn takes over DC thing, but it's been pretty entertaining. The formula seems to be he's been calling in these stars to his office and telling them that their franchises are over. Like he fucking sacked The Rock. Sacked Henry Cavill, sacked Gal Gadot. How do those meetings go down? Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall of that?
It's a lot, isn't it? But particularly the Henry Cavill thing, because I mean I haven't been following it closely, but I saw basically that they've been trying to get Henry Cavill back as Superman for so long, and then in Black Adam, in the final like post-credit scene, you know, Superman makes a cameo. I believe I have not watched Black Adam, so I'm led to believe that Superman makes a cameo. And then it was all about Henry Cavill is back in the DC universe, and Henry Cavill announced that he was back in the DC universe, and The Rock's talking about the next Black Adam film being Black Adam versus Superman. And then it seemed like about 9 hours later, James Gunn was like, "Hey, Henry, can you see me in my office, please, mate?"
I mean, the rumor is too that he turned down the second season of The Witcher or another season of The Witcher because he was making room in his schedule to come back as Superman and do James Gunn. And by the way, let me just say, like, I love James Gunn. I thought his Suicide Squad was great, and Peacemaker was one of my favorite TV shows of last year. So I have, if he wants to sack everyone, I'm all for it. Like, I think why not? But it's weird to see The Rock on the back foot so consistently. Like the whole process of, you know, we talked about it lots of times leading up to the release of the film, him on the promo circuit. And then, you know, I'm not sure if you caught this before you got off social media, but he was basically giving updates on the box office performance like weekly. It felt like he'd just do these little videos in his car and stuff. He's saying, everyone said we didn't make any money. Oh, we did. I rang my accountants and they assured me we're $80 million in profit.
Well, firstly, here's what you will say about The Rock, and this has been the secret to his success, which is if he's in on something, he's all in. You know, you do get the impression that he would be absolutely across what the box office receipts are, and he would be talking to the accountants, and like he would be across every aspect of that business. Secondly, we know in Hollywood that the accounting around films is ridiculous. Like the idea of like what they can say a film made and didn't make, you know, can be manipulated for their own purposes for whatever agenda.
Well, literally the term Hollywood accounting is a euphemism for cooking the books.
Exactly. So, you know, it must be in a way, like, I think that like if you are the person who feels like you are being manipulated by this idea of going, people are seeing, because a lot of people saw Black Adam and it turns out even a whole bunch of them liked it. I've not met any of those people, but there has been people online, you know, lobbying for the fact that it was a good movie. And it did absolutely fine. It just didn't do what they were hoping or expecting that it would do. And the bar for what that is now is so fucking high that if you don't reach this incredibly high bar, it's seen as a failure. So I can imagine if you're The Rock and you've put everything into this, and he put everything into it. Like, I mean, he was, you know, on the publicity trail well before it even started. He went everywhere to try to get this movie to work. Like, he
got his body in insane shape, no padding, fucking ate a bucket of testicles, went and hung out with the Liver King.
Just was not, like, I mean, was eating poppy seeds by the fucking bowl, right? And did everything he could, and it did absolutely fine. And then, of course, it becomes essentially a failure, another failure in that DC universe, because the bar now is so high that I can understand, you know, the desperate need to try to tell people, no, this is doing fine. This is actually doing fine. It's not maybe doing as well as we hoped that it was going to do, but it's doing fine.
It's bizarre too. Like, I haven't seen it either, but everything I've read about it, that, you know,
that's a bad sign, by the way, though. that neither you or I have seen this movie.
Yeah.
Like that,
And we both like The Rock and superhero movies.
That's part of the problem, isn't it? The fact that he could not get you or I to see this movie is, I think, part of the reason that James Gunn invited him to the office and said, "My name's Gunn by name and Gunn by nature. I have a gun here with 5 bullets in it."
So you think he just stood there and Russian rouletted The Rock? Just click, click, click. But yeah, that the pushing of the film and the promoting the film, the DC hierarchy of DC power is about to change, and the language The Rock was using was like, "This is a game changer, man. We're doing stuff in this film like, I'm not wearing a padded suit, all of it," and it's like, for James Cameron to come out and say that, I'd kind of buy it, because it's like, oh, what fucking crazy technology is James Cameron? I mean, I haven't seen the new Avatar either, but I imagine that, he's been working on some fucking camera for the last 6 years that literally will change the way films are made. But The Rock was saying all this to make probably the most popular and common tentpole film around today, which is the superhero film. Like, I don't think you can claim to be changing the game and then deliver exactly what we've been seeing for the last 5 years.
Yeah, you've actually got to change the game. It's got to look like you've changed the game. Yeah, regardless of what Tom Cruise does and doesn't do when it comes to his stunts, if he does something in one of his movies where he's taken the risk, you can tell on screen. Like, they shoot it in a way where you go, oh, you couldn't fake this shot. Like, they've made the most of the fact that somebody has pushed themselves to this like level. If there was maybe more of that, when you're making a movie where someone has the powers of Black Adam, like, these incredible superpowers, then it's going to all be CGI and look the same as everything else regardless, because there's no way that, like, it's not that thing of going where, you say with the Tom Cruise, oh, he did his own stunts. He jumped off this building. He broke his ankle doing this. It's not like The Rock was like, yeah, I learned to fly for this. I learned how to punch a bus across a room.
I can shoot lightning out of my eyes.
Yeah. We didn't want to fake anything. So I've spent the last 3 years learning to shoot lightning.
Well, their point of difference seemed to be, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy and he doesn't care who he kills. And it's like, well, that isn't a point of difference, because we've had that.
Right.
That's most of your stable mates. That's most of like Superman and Batman. We've seen them, thanks to Zack Snyder, kill heaps of people.
They're mass
like
murderers.
with machine guns, much more painful, cruel, sadistic murders too.
Yeah.
Like, I think in one of those Batmans, doesn't he throw like a wooden crate that crushes a guy against the wall? That guy probably didn't die straight away. I reckon his lungs were punctured. He probably choked on his own blood. It probably took hours.
Drowned.
And he had a family.
Yeah, his lungs filled up with his own blood. And you know what?
I think he was feebly trying to reach his phone to dial his wife to tell her that he loved her in his last few moments. And you think Black Adam's going to fucking blow our minds?
Yeah. And the fact is that guy's like, his wife was in hospital. And the only reason he got back into crime was it was the only way he could pay the bills, because America has such a terrible health system. It wasn't his fault. Maybe here's the problem. The Rock kept telling us that the hierarchy in the DC universe was about to change. And unfortunately,
technically he was right.
Yeah, that's right. Ironically, the hierarchy in the DC universe did change, and he was the first victim. Do you think that's what James Gunn said to him when he came? He said, sit down, Mr. Johnson. I have some good news and some bad news. And the good news is the hierarchy in the DC universe has indeed changed.
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.